there, it's Erin from littleslovelearning.com. And recently I got an email from a reader and she had a great question. She asked, what can I do with my little one, just a little toddler, who does not like to sit and listen while I read? So this mom was reaching out because she knows how important it is for us to read aloud to our little ones starting from when they're babies, but she wasn't sure what to do because now that her little one was a toddler, that he was up and running around and wanting to move and didn't want to sit and listen to her read. So I have 5 tips for you on what you can do with your little wiggly toddler or preschooler when they don't want to sit and listen to a book, and how you can still incorporate these read alouds throughout the day, since we know they're so important for later reading success. So let's get started. Tip number 1 is that your little one actually does not need to be looking at the book when you're reading to them. Let's say, for example, they were sitting in your lap and you were snuggling and you were reading and you're right in the middle of the book and they get up and they walk away. That's okay. You can keep reading. You can actually continue reading. And if they're close by, I promise you they're still going to be listening. And if they've gone into the other room, that's okay too. We don't want to force our kids to sit and listen to books and make it this unpleasurable experience, because then they're not going to want to choose that on their own. So it is okay if your little one gets up and wanders away. You can keep reading. They might come back to you because they're interested in what you're doing. You can hold the book up to show them so that while they're walking around and exploring, they can look back and see the pictures while you're reading. There are so many ways that you can keep it going, even if they're not sitting and staring at the book with you. Tip number 2 is to read to your little one when they are in a confined space. What I mean by that is if they're sitting at the table eating breakfast or lunch, that is a great time to read to them because they're sitting at the table and they can't get up and down. Or if they're in the bathtub and they're in that one area, you can read to them there. In the car, if you have someone else driving and you are sitting next to your little one in the back, then you could read to them there. So think about the times of day when your little one is in their car seat or in their high chair, at the table, in the bathtub, and you can incorporate literacy in those moments, and they can't get up and wander away. They're more likely to listen to the story. Tip number 3, be careful what books you're choosing to read to your little one, especially if they have not gotten into the age where they want to choose the book. That's coming. They get very particular about what books they want to read. But if you're still choosing, make sure you're choosing books that are not too long. You want rhyming books. You want books that are shorter with less words per page, bigger pictures. I also love books that have pattern text, but then the text is interrupted, maybe on the last page, like Brown Bear, what do you see? Those kinds of books really keep our little ones' attention. Now, let's say you choose a book and you realize as you're reading it that it is just too long. It is okay to skip some words. You don't have to read every word on the page. You can paraphrase, you can summarize, especially since they don't know the words on the page yet, you can get away with this. When they get a little bit older and they have books memorized or they're starting to read, you won't be able to get away with this anymore because they will know what words you're saying and which words you're skipping. But when they're super little, you can still kind of go through more quickly if you realize their attention span is not that long, so that they're not stuck getting bored and wiggly and wanting to get out. You can kind of get through the book faster too. So just be careful which books you choose. Oh, and one more tip about choosing books. Look for books that give your little one something to do, whether they are lifting the flaps, pulling the tabs, counting on the page. Anything that's more kinesthetic and that it gives them something to do is going to be more engaging than if they're just sitting and listening. So especially for our young little ones, look for books that give them something to do, that are really interactive. That will help too. My 4th tip is that your little one doesn't need to be looking at the book and instead could be doing another quiet activity while you're reading. So some really great choices are Play-Doh, building with blocks, coloring, anything that's keeping their hands busy, but they're still listening to you read. It's just like we can do dishes while we're listening to a podcast. Our hands are busy, but we're still listening. It's the same for our little ones. I especially love, as my little ones get older, to start introducing chapter books during this time. Chapter books don't have a lot of pictures. takes a lot of imagination. And so while they're squishing that Play-Doh or building with those blocks and they're listening, they're able to use their imagination to hear what's happening in the story and visualize those pictures in their brain. It's a really great time to introduce chapter books when they're ready. But for all little ones, they can be playing with something quiet while you're reading and they're still taking it all in. And my 5th tip to read to your wiggly toddler or preschooler is just to keep reading. Don't give up. If they're going through a phase where every time you sit down to read a book, they get up and go, don't take it to mean that, oh, they're never gonna love books, they're never gonna like reading, it's all over, I did something wrong. No. They all go through those phases, but don't give up. Just like if they protested and told you they were never gonna brush their teeth again, you wouldn't say, oh, all right, I guess I did it wrong. I guess they're never gonna brush their teeth again. Of course they are. We can't let them not brush their teeth. And reading is the same way. It is crucial that we read to our little ones out loud. So even if they want to get up and wander around or play, or they're in a phase where they're not super interested or their attention span is short, we don't give up. We keep reading to them and we try different books. We try different locations. We keep it going. Because as a mom and a teacher, I will tell you, they all go through those phases and then their attention span gets longer. And they want to sit and read more books. And then they're choosy about what books they want to read. And it's all going to be great. You just don't want to give up. So don't worry if your little one's not into it right now. I promise you they will be, as long as you don't give up. So there you go. Those are my 5 tips for how you want to read to your wiggly toddler or your young preschooler, especially if they're not super interested in books right now. If you find these ideas helpful, you can comment below and let me know. You can hit the like button, you can subscribe to my channel, or find me over on my website, littleslovelearning.com. I'd love to share more tips with you and help you as your little one goes from being a toddler into preschool, pre-K, and then getting them ready for kindergarten. That is what I love to do. Make sure little ones are prepared for kindergarten by that first day. So if there's anything I can do to help, let me know. Other than that, I hope you have a great day. Bye.